Yes, welcome to Soni Irabor Live. And tonight I have a great journalist, a great politician, and he's a man that speaks his mind in the way and manner you might least expect. Dele Momodu, Chief Dele Momodu, is our guest tonight on Soni Irabor Live. And we're going to talk about a lot of things, situation in the land, leadership, and so on and so forth. Chief Dele Momodu, how are you? You're welcome to the program.
Good evening, our living legend. Thank you so much for this honor of inviting me on your program.
Thank you.
How are
very
you
much.
tonight, sir?
I'm cool. Just a little bit of, I've read a lot about you. I've read your articles, and I noticed that you've been very vocal about the way Nigeria is going. And I need to hear from you on this program what you think should be done to make the Nigerian situation a bit better.
Thank you, sir. I don't think I've been very vocal. I'm not sure I've been vocal enough. What I know is that every Nigerian should be worried and concerned about the direction Nigeria is going. And this has nothing to do with the Tinubu government. It's been there almost forever. It's been perennial, like we were taught in school. When something becomes perennial, then it becomes very dangerous. It seems that our leaders are not willing to change the way politics is practiced in this part of the world. Nigeria has too many problems, but I will try to give my own insight into the solutions. A lot of people talk always about the problems, but I'm happy that you're asking me what I think can be done to either arrest or reverse the situation. Number one, I'm very worried about what I call democracy. Let's start from democracy. I was going to go to economy, but I would start from the very foundation of what we have today. You will recall, sir, that once upon a time, some of us were forced into exile, including the current president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a man who fought very hard for this democracy. I was a witness at that time. I was very regular in his house. We, worked together with so many other comrades. So that is why democracy should be our foundation. I mean, we used to think the military was the beginning and end of our problems. But the military left since 1999. We thank God Almighty for that. But since then, what have we not done with our newfound freedom? So that is why I would like to talk first about democracy. I believe that democracy and our constitution enshrines the freedom of association, the freedom of movement, and so on and so forth. But today what I see, and I've been campaigning against it, I'm pleading with my big brother, the president, that look, I don't mind, even if you fail in the area of economy, everybody knows you're not a professor of economics. But when it comes to deepening our democracy, everybody would expect that today Nigeria would at least be a democratic nation where every human being is free to join any association, to speak freely and responsibly. I wouldn't say because it's free, it should not be responsible. That is what a lot of us would expect. But unfortunately, I see a form of coercion, a form of intimidation, and it's not just politicians who are being intimidated. In fact, even those of us who are in the private sector, you now have this portable fear of the big brother watching over you, breathing over your neck. Oh, if you talk, we will deal with you. Those in government, if you don't support us, then you are going to have a lot of issues and so on and so forth. I am worried about this.
You know?
I believe this is very easy to address and that the president can come out boldly and tell his agents and his cronies that, look, I'm a pro-democracy leader in Nigeria. Please don't ruin my credentials. Don't destroy the legacy I've built as a pro-democracy man. And you will see that a lot of the guys, because I don't want to believe that a lot of things that are being done in his name, he really knows about it. We've been told so many times that leaders are usually insulated from reality. So they are probably not. So I want to give this excuse on his behalf that maybe he's not aware or people are misleading him into thinking that everything is right. I can tell him, sir.
Yeah, but
and when tomorrow comes, he will thank me for this, that a lot is wrong with that. So I've just dealt with the number one. The number two is the economy. Everybody knows that he inherited a poor economy when he came to power, about 2 years ago. But then, by now, we should begin to see, the impact of his economic reforms, and which I don't think is also too difficult. Nigerians are not asking the president to perform a magic. I personally, I don't expect him to practice a magic. He's not a magician that will come soon and in one day everything will change of government. When you are broke, even in your own home, you know that you have to. I've not seen any evidence that this government knows that Nigeria is broke. And if it knows that Nigeria is broke, then it should reflect in the way and manner it spends money. When you look at our budget today, our budget is still as atrocious as ever. So my advice again to Mr. President is that please call your agents, agencies, and cronies to order so that if they think Nigeria is still a bazaar, they should please find their way backward and let Nigerians see that as they tell us to tighten our belts, they have even tightened theirs, very, very tightly. So this is the second thing. The economy, nobody is saying, oh, it's going to change. But what must change is the way and manner we waste resources. I don't know if I can stop there for now.
Yes, thank you very much, because I was about to actually step in. There are two issues that you have raised that are of concern to me. First one is the cronies, using your word, and the way they react to criticism. The second one is the economy and the relationship between the followers and the leadership. It appears they are not in sync. Nobody is listening to the other. I don't think the leadership is aware of the bitterness and the plight of the followers. How do you react to that?
No, I'm not sure they are aware. I will give you one example. There was a controversy at the National Assembly recently, and some of us believe that it has distracted our nation over whether somebody harassed a lady, sexually or not. Unfortunately, nobody seems to understand that there are political dimensions to everything in Nigeria. The Natasha Akpabio saga, for example, I believe the reason why a lot of Nigerians have taken to the social media and seem to be talking about this issue daily is because of the animosity they have against the president. The Senate president is seen as a very, very absolute supporter of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And so those who are not able to catch the president are now taking it out on the National Assembly. And I've expressed this view elsewhere, that the National Assembly today has become, a medium of attack for those who are angry against the APC government. So whatever they do, when it is good, when it is bad, everybody blames the National Assembly for everything. So the president should know that there is so much hatred, there is so much anger in the land. And that is why I've been speaking. On a personal note, you will notice that I've even stopped writing Pendulum for some time now. It is because every time I wrote my column, harmlessly, innocently, someone must come and say, oh, but Tinubu is your big brother, is your friend, why are you attacking him? So that nobody will accuse me of attacking him. So I left him and I come here with my interventions. Just once in a blue moon, unlike before, when I used to address leaders on daily basis, every week I had a regular column. And I used to write about leaders, I used to advise them. Even President Buhari, who was a retired army general, on one occasion had to invite me to his office in Nasarawa to ask me, Dele, what is the problem? Because I was one of those who supported in 2014 and 2015. And I explained to him that I always appoint myself as, that special advisor without portfolio and without any pecuniary gains. I advise every government, because I love my country more than friendship. I love Nigeria more than my friend. I love Nigeria to the extent that even if today my father were to be the president of Nigeria, I think the only job I will do, which I've been doing since 1982, is to advise him on how to be a better leader. Because virtually all our previous leaders failed. And if you repeat the same things, over and over again, that is what I've been told is a classic definition of insanity. We should try at least to show that we're serious. But what I see today, I'm worried about the democracy, I'm worried about the economy, with the way politicians are living lives. I read somewhere 2 days ago where, a commentator, a radio legend, was lamenting, about ministers being able to live ostentatiously, where the level of ostentation we see in Nigeria today is unbelievable. And you see leaders who live as if, every day is Christmas, you can drive a Rolls Royce, you can fly private jets, and nobody is going to stop you. So these are issues that the president must address. So it's not that we are criticizing him blindly. We are advising him, it's an advice. And if he listens to that advice, I can assure you that it will be the better for it.
Yes, there are other issues as well. The one that threatens democracy is the one-party state syndrome. Looks like all of a sudden, so many, governors are cross-carpeting, leaving one party to APC. And that's the very dangerous one. Then the next one, of course, is security or insecurity. Let's look at those two in that wise. Cross-carpeting.
Yes. The issue of cross-carpeting should be worrisome to all Nigerians. It should be worrisome. Unfortunately, it seems that is what is in vogue in our country. In fact, people are doing it with so much recklessness and bold face that yes, we are joining. If you are joining a new party, you should be able to tell us what that party has done for the people. And then it becomes a lot easier for us to follow you, so that even the doubting and unbelieving Thomases can follow you and say, oh, okay, this party has done extremely well. But everywhere you turn in Nigeria, people are crying. I've never seen this level of bitterness, and I hope the president is taking this criticism in good faith. I hope people are telling him the situation of things out there, because there is no way he can feel or know it. Okay? He who feels it knows it. So, but I am not sure that the president actually knows what is going on, because if you see all the governors camping to your party, won't you think you are the greatest thing that happened to Nigeria? You can't blame the man if he feels that way.
But the question is, what does the Constitution say? What does the Constitution say about moving from one party to another? If you want your, for example...
But you know that we've thrown our Constitution into the Atlantic Ocean long ago. The Constitution has been thrown overboard, which is unfortunate. The Constitution states clearly that if somebody elected on the platform of a party decides to become, then he would have to vacate that seat.
Yes.
When I contested in 2011 a presidential ticket on the presidential ticket of the National Conscience Party. So, and it is the name of the party, it is the logo of the party that will be on the ballot paper. So if tomorrow you are tired of that party, then you should be man enough also to say, I give up everything. I remember when I left Classic Magazine as editor in 1990. They took away my official car because that was part of the deal where I was editor. They took away my official driver. That was part of the deal of being an editor. And I went out to become a bread seller. People were teasing me, oh God, editor, the highest paid editor becomes bread seller. But that's the reality. I was the one who voluntarily resigned. I wasn't sacked. They promoted me into redundancy. And I felt redundant that, oh no, I can't be a managing editor to manage anything. So I resigned. And after I resigned, naturally, my publisher called me in and said, Dele, now that you've left us, you are going to forfeit all these largesse. And I took it in good faith. So any man who is tired of his political party should be ready to forfeit everything and take it in good stride. You cannot continue to live as if you are still in power. The party in power is the one who has the right to determine who will represent them. But today, people cross carpets at will. You can wake up in APC in the evening, in the morning by evening, you are in PDP. And then by the following morning, you are back in APC. And it's just unfortunate. So that is that. Then you spoke about security and insecurity.
Yes.
Unfortunately, things are getting worse. I think we are almost getting back to those days of President Jonathan when we were seeing Boko Haram on rampage. The only difference now is that it's not just Boko Haram. You have kidnappers, you have herdsmen, you have the gold diggers who are looking for gold in Zamfara on that place and other places and causing mayhem everywhere. And it doesn't seem the government has enough power to arrest this situation. Something critical must be done to arrest these threats to petition.
You know, in fact, you mentioned Zamfara. I also wanted to add Kogi. There are illegal airstrips, limestone factory in Kogi in the thickest of bushes. Then you have the Zamfara gold, and there's an airstrip there as well. And people just flying from outside the country, take whatever they like, and go out unquestioned, unannounced, and in and out they do that. They do their bidding. It just makes nonsense of the security effort, if at all, of the government. So what is the government doing? What do you think you should advise?
Well, I don't know what government is doing because I don't work for government security.
Yes.
But I know that our soldiers are amongst the best and the brightest, not just in Africa, but globally. I've interacted with them in the past. Over 20 years ago, I interacted with them in Sierra Leone, where the United Nations had a very large detachment of Nigerians in that country. And they were praised everywhere we went, in Port Loko, in Mange, in Freetown, in Lungi. Everybody was proud of the Nigerian soldier. What did I notice with my interaction with them? They were well equipped. Today, it seems the bandits are more well equipped than our soldiers. Our soldiers are naturally brilliant.
Who is arming them?
Nigerian is very...
Who is arming them? What? Who is arming them? Who is arming the bandits? Who is giving them guns to fight? I mean, the bandits and so on and so forth. They seem to have superior weapons.
Of course, we know that a lot of foreign powers are out to destabilize
Nigeria,
parts of Africa where they feel our mineral resources should be their own and not to our benefit. There is no harm about that. And of course, a lot of our own citizens are also culpable. A lot of selfish and greedy citizens are also in cahoots with these guys. And it's all about money. I don't know what people do with money. So we've also seen instances where the military sell weapons to bandits. But we know that with the collapse of a place like Libya, so a lot of these arms escaped from Libya after the collapse of the Gaddafi government. So, but again, the Nigerian borders are also very porous, extremely porous. So people can stroll in and stroll out. I remember when we were all running into exile. That's how we were able to escape. We were able to escape from Nigeria because of that porous border. You could go through Idiroko or you could go through Seme border. Until today, nobody has been able to build a Mexican wall in Nigeria. It's difficult. We don't have the resources to build that Mexican wall. So a lot of people will naturally be able to stroll in and out. And then because of the ethnic tension in Nigeria, there is this kind of, mistrust between our people. Today, people will blame everything on, oh, it's because the Yoruba man is president. Then when tomorrow comes, it's because, oh, the Fulani man is the president. So naturally, that would affect our security. So the level of insecurity we have now is going to take much more audacity on our part to be able to take on these guys.
Doesn't that threaten the sovereignty of the nation?
It does, but every Nigerian should be worried. We shouldn't just leave it to the president. Every Nigerian. These guys are human beings. Our military should be well and better equipped. You could see what is happening today in Burkina Faso, in Niger, and the rest of them. They seem to be winning the war better than us, though they are still under threat like the rest of us. But the military there is working very hard, though we are in a civilian regime, so it makes it more difficult for us. But then, even civilians, every one of us must participate in making sure that we fight insecurity in our nation. Because we don't have any other country. This is the only country we have. And we labored and suffered immensely for us to get to where we are today. And we should never make it possible for anybody to be tempted to come and destroy Nigeria militarily.
Okay, we'll take a short break. And when we come back, we'll be dealing with other issues regarding, well, Ibrahim Traore is becoming more African than the African leadership we have. And April 30, something happened in Africa. We'll be talking about that soon after. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. Well, we have Chief Dele Momodu. Are you Basharun or Tumba? Which one are you again? How should I address you?
Modest.
Chief.
I started as the Onigegiara of Jogaland.
Okay.
I became the Owanusi of Imeri Kingdom. I became the Onmekora one of Etitiumboko in Abia State. I am the Akinrogun of Mogonland. I am the Are of Iwo Kingdom, and I am also the Basharun of Okela Orogun. And out there in Liberia, I'm the Kiazulu of the Grand Cape Mount County. God has blessed me with all those honors and titles.
Okay, we'll come back to you soon on that. But let's go back to the African continent. On April 30, something happened in Africa where African youths went on the street on the prompting of Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore, Captain Ibrahim Traore. What do you make of that effort? Because military junta is not something we encourage, but one seems to be making a difference. What do you make of it, Captain Ibrahim Traore?
When a nation is bedeviled with too many man-made problems, because most of our problems are man-made, there is nothing spiritual about it. Out of desperation, people seek their messiahs. And so those youths believe that if the politicians are reckless and irresponsible, then the only other way to go is the military. But it's because maybe some of them have also not lived under the military in the past. Every military government in Nigeria came without toga of being a messiah, and we believed them. But sooner than later, they became very, very dangerous. They became difficult to manage, and we lost our freedom. So that is why a lot of us will continue to appeal to our leaders that they should not drive out the military again. It should never, never, never happen. Because anyone who has seen the workings of a witch will never want any woman, to look like a witch and behave like a witch. So we are praying that it will not happen in Nigeria. Yes, don't forget that those countries are also very small. Nigeria is a very big country. Whatever you do, something is still going to go wrong. If the man in power is a Fulani, then the rest of the country will still be complaining. If it's a Yoruba, it's the same thing. So there is really no difference between then and now. We used to think, oh, the Northerners were the ones oppressing us because they control the weapons. But today we are complaining that the Yorubas are the problems of Nigeria because they have their own money government. That is why we need to come together urgently and ensure that there is equity, there is justice, there is fairness in the nation. The judiciary should be seen to be above board. The judiciary must be able to hold everyone accountable. The legislature should be able to make laws that will lessen the burden on our people and not laws that will favor the executive. The executive should be honest and responsible enough to carry every Nigerian along. As far as I am concerned, the president is the father of the nation, and the president should give all of us that ability to thrive in our nation, and that will be it. So the problem with Nigeria today has to do with the fact that there is no equity, there is no justice, and there is no fair play. Once you don't have that, imagine people telling you that once you join a party, all your sins are forgiven. That should not be the case. All of us should be treated as equal animals, not a place where some animals are more equal than others.
Animal farm, okay. George Orwell. Well, the truth about what you are saying
George
right
Orwell,
now,
yes, sir.
yes, Animal Farm, 1984, they're all playing out today in most leadership, situations. So when you look at all of these, you ask yourself, are we actually allowed to exhibit fairness in our consciousness? Do we really believe in this sovereign nation called Nigeria? Because that's the question. Many youths are wondering where they stand.
Some of our political leaders, yes, sir, majority of our political leaders do not see themselves as servants of the people. They see themselves as the Lord of the nation. And that is why people live ostentatiously. They live as if there is no tomorrow. They live as if they've been invited just to enjoy while the rest of the citizens suffer and wallow in penury, in poverty, in diseases. It's unfortunate.
Is anybody above the law? Because the way you have described it now.
Definitely, many people are above the law. If you are in the right party today in Nigeria, you are above the law. So God help the rest of us. That is it. So that is why we also have to preach against vindictiveness, because what happens is that where a leadership thrives on vindictiveness, then that is what will lead to a one-party state. So everybody else feels that, look, why am I fighting, over something that is beyond my power, something that can lead me to prison, something that anybody can cook up anything against me, and that is it. So we need to appeal to our government to know that life does not begin and end with power.
That's a very strong one. I like that. Now, okay, let me take you again back to certain things we have already discussed. The way Nigeria is now, last week I had somebody, a director from PSG UK, who talked about insecurity. And he said insecurity was zonally distributed. Interesting. And I think you almost said it now. Boko Haram, herdsmen, of course, Niger Delta, oil theft in the Niger Delta, human harvesting in the southwest, and in the east, southeast, you also have the IPOB and ESN. So there are so many different types of. So what advice would you give to a Nigerian state led by the president himself, Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu? What advice will you give to this kind of situation where he has to face the question of insecurity in their different phenomena?
Well, I believe the first thing is that the president of Nigeria should see all of us as fellow citizens, should see us as people who should be respected across board, not a people who are opposed to him or are for him. I think the biggest problem I see today is that a lot of people in government believe that, every critic is our enemy and we must snuff life out of them. We must not, in fact, I've not seen a leader that is so neurotic about people talking about them. Every day I see my brothers who are in the media crew of the president attacking one person or the other. We're all friends. We all started as brothers and sisters. I personally, there is no reason for me to hate my president. My president, once upon a time, we fought for this democracy together. And so it's painful to me that today we are rather seen as enemies of the government instead of friends of the government. But the truth and the reality is that sooner than later, they will see that those of us who are telling them the truth are the true friends. And those whose lives depend almost absolutely on the presidency or the government are the real enemies. Because,
yes.
We just can't continue along this line, along this path. It's too dangerous to contemplate. But they don't seem to care. They believe, we've captured everybody. And there is nothing anybody can do about it. We are going to spend our 8 years. Some people are even telling us, I read somewhere yesterday that Ferry said whether we like it or not, Tinubu must do 8 years. Elections are based, is an exam, is an examination. If you pass, you pass. If you fail, you fail. You cannot say whether a student passes or not is going to the next class. I don't think that will all go well for our democracy. Nobody, I don't care if Tinubu tomorrow has a free and fair election and he wins. I will applaud him and I will make sure that, I congratulate him. But to say that whether he passes or he fails, we don't care. He must do 8 years because the Fulani did 8 years, so the Yoruba man too must do it. And then that's a dangerous way to go.
Do you see any external influence in the affairs of Nigeria, in the management of governance, in the governance of Nigeria? Do you see or feel if there's any external influence? Because it appears that the media is hinting at that now and again.
Well, if I see any external influence, it's that they want to control the resources of Nigeria and our leaders voluntarily give it to them. If our leaders go out every day and live in foreign lands and enjoy foreign lands, why do you think they will not show interest in our affairs? I think the time has come when Nigeria should be self-reliant and we should be self-sufficient. God has given us everything that we need. Most of the doctors that we go to see abroad, many of them are Nigerians. In America, in Europe, in Asia, everywhere you go, Nigerians are doing great things. So it's natural, and you can see it. Look at the case of Ukraine and Russia, and you can see deals being signed now by Zelensky and Trump. Why? Because they need that external support to be able to survive against the attack of Russia. So why do you think the same will not happen in Nigeria? We will not be able to fight Boko Haram on our own because you cannot fight them with plain guns when they have sophisticated weapons. So naturally, we don't know what deals our leaders are doing. You know, Nigeria is not that transparent like what you see elsewhere, where they will own up that, yes, we're talking to this person or the other. So Nigeria naturally will be controlled by outsiders, but the only way we can resist them is when we become self-reliant and self-sufficient.
Going further on what you just said, self-reliance and self-sufficiency, how do you see Nigeria coping with all the different facets of insecurity that's plaguing it? What advice do you have for the leadership?
Well, is to carry your citizens along. I remember Chief Moshood Abiola used to tell us in those days, when he sends us on a mission and we express doubts, he will say, whoa, you have to convince yourself first before you can convince outsiders. So Nigerian leaders need to convince Nigerian citizens that they are very serious about what they are doing. But where your own people don't believe you, they don't believe in anything you do, they easily raise suspicions about the government, it's going to be difficult. So the government must carry all of us along. Some of us have chosen to be in opposition voluntarily. It's not that we don't like to make money in government, but we just chose it that for the sake of our country, and if God can provide for us in other means, then let us support. People should know that we're supporting our government by complaining. Nobody wants to be a biblical Jeremiah just for the fun of it. We're complaining not because we want anything more than necessary from government. It is because we are worried about the future of our nation. So I will employ the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take it easy on us and help Nigeria to grow in leaps and bounds. God has given us everything. There is nothing we lack. God has given us everything in Nigeria. But unfortunately, our leaders are wasting those opportunities.
So, followership, I would like you to specifically advise followers, followership, what role should they play to, garner trust from leaders and then pursue trust from both sides? How can they, if I remember in 1961 or thereabout, John F. Kennedy said, ask not what you can do for what the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Do you see that playing out in this kind of scenario? Is there a level of trust that can garner that?
Well, I believe trust begets trust. And that's why I was saying that, look, it will be a lot easier if the government is able to act transparently and show the citizens their sincerity about governance. But where the citizens feel like they are being curtailed. Yeah, that's the word. They are being curtailed. They cannot maximize their potential. Only a few people, it's about who you know and not what you know. Then it will be difficult to garner that trust. I'm sure this government is doing a lot. I have no doubt that this government is doing something. But maybe they're not doing enough, and maybe their communications rather are spending more energy on attacking opposition than selling the good sides of government. So my advice henceforth is that rather than blame Dele Momodu or anybody for criticizing government, they should sell the government more to the people. Nobody wants a bad nation. If Nigeria is good, we're all naturally brilliant. We will do well. But where the government is only interested in, imaginary enemies, they believe that there are imaginary enemies who don't want them to succeed or survive, then there will always be crisis. I believe that this government, there are a few people who have noticed the government who are doing great things, and government should sell them more to the people than just worrying about who likes us and who doesn't like us.
Okay. What advice do you have for journalism, practice, and leadership in Nigeria? Straightforward.
We should be patriotic, and patriotism does not mean supporting a leader. It's about supporting your country. I do a lot of things to promote Nigeria, Nigerians. I remember before I started going to Ghana about 30 years ago, the stories about Nigeria out there was that of 419, drug barons, and so on and so forth. But we got there and we showed them that no, Nigeria is not synonymous with those names. So we should try and de-emphasize stories that paint us black. You will never see me write about, this Nigeria, he made money only because he's a fraudster. No, we promote the good sides of Nigeria. That is why Ovation was created in 1996. Until today, we make sure that we write positive stories about Nigeria. Before I got to Ghana, there was not a single Nigerian bank in Ghana. Nobody trusts us with their money. Today, Nigerian banks are thriving in Ghana. They are employing hundreds, if not thousands of people out there. So people are beginning to see that, we can do business with Nigerians. But people forget that some people started that promotion. I've traveled with Aliko Dangote to several countries. I've traveled with Globalcom to several countries. I've traveled, with a lot of Nigerian companies, and we are well respected. Everywhere we go now, there are Nigerians. If you look at even the banking, the telecommunications, and so on, our traders, they are everywhere in the world. And I'm always proud to raise my head that I am a Nigerian. So our journey should continue along those lines and de-emphasize those stories that make us look terrible.
Well, Dele Momodu, you're a name that's synonymous with journalism, you're a name that's synonymous with politics, and people see you as a power player, and now this month you'll be turning 65. That's a good one. You don't look it yet, even though you look very affluent, How do you see, what kind of impact do you think you are giving back to society from what you've done so far?
Well, to use your word, affluence, my affluence has a lot to do with contentment. You will not believe the story of my life if I tell you, I never had a home in Nigeria until I was about 56 or 57. Nobody would believe that. I've had to struggle all my life. But I've been a child of goodwill, a child of destiny, and a child of diversity. My legacy is to inspire Nigerians that whether you are in government or not, you should be able to survive on your own income, which is always very, very difficult. A lot of people believe they have to be on the speed lane before they can make it. My story, and which I am telling, and which I am about to tell, will convince those coming behind that here is a man who has lived most of his life on contentment and goodwill. If you are good, look, my birthday is coming. Already people are sending me gifts. A man I didn't know from Adam sent someone to me during the week that he would like to send me a cow. And I was shocked. He's not a Yoruba man, he's an Igbo man that I've never met him, I don't know him. So I asked for his number, I called him, and he said, Dele, I've been watching you over the years, and I am very impressed with the way you conduct your life. And that is what I want to give and bequeath to generations unborn, that you can do it. If I can do it, I was born very poor. I lost my father at the age of 13 in 1973. He was buried just on a bare land where there was nothing. And yesterday, after dreaming for about 50 years, I was able to present a bungalow to my family. I was born in Ilefe, raised in Ilefe, and that is my kind of dream. My father never took us home. We are from Edo State, in Iyeve, in Owan East local government. He never took us home. But I went home, I discovered my roots on my own. And just if you've read Alexei, The Roots, that was the story of my life. I went back to trace my roots, and they gave me land, and I've struggled to build something on it. My father didn't have anything. So that is the kind of legacy. That's why I'm worried that our politicians who have everything, they do so little with it. But we will continue to pray that God will help us. I've started the Dele Momodu Leadership Lecture Series. I've already registered the Dele Momodu Foundation, and I've succeeded in building the Dele Momodu Leadership Center and Library in Ibadan. Because Ibadan used to be like London to me, where I used to come. I would see Cocoa House when I was about 9 years old. I would see Father Christmas. So Ibadan is the center of culture and education. And that is why I'm putting this leadership center, which I copied from Villaggio in Como, Italy, owned by the Rockefeller Foundation. So the idea came from there, and we've done that. Then on May 16, President Olusegun Obasanjo will be speaking on how to end hunger and poverty in Africa. There is nobody more competent than Obasanjo in speaking about hunger and poverty. He's been a farmer and a man who believes so much in green revolution. So I am extremely grateful that he accepted to be the guest lecturer. And the former President Goodluck Jonathan, who in retrospect, a lot of us now see as a man who deepened our democracy. Now, when you've tried 2 wives, you are able to know which one is better. So he has also agreed to attend. We have a lot of dignitaries who would be coming to the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. We chose that location because it's an iconic location in Victoria Land, and we're looking forward to a great lecture.
Chief Dele Momodu, Are Dele Momodu, Bashorun Dele Momodu. I don't know what else to call you, but the great Bob D, yes. We welcome you, and we thank you for honoring us on Soni Irabor Live tonight. May your day be long, and may God bless your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. And I regard to Auntie Betty. Thank you, sir.
I'll make sure of that. And so, that's how it is that we have had Chief Dele Momodu on our show, Soni Irabor Live, tonight. And very soon he'll be 65. You just heard him say that. We'll be doing a lot of other things. Next week, we have another person talking truth to power. Soni Irabor Live, thank you. Good night.